Have you ever met that student who says, "I'll start studying tomorrow," and tomorrow has been coming for 3 months? The exam is next week. Notes are untouched. Highlighters are brand new. But somehow, they know every trending reel, every meme, and exactly what happened in a random celebrity's life at 2 a.m. Let's talk about the psychology of students who seem careless about their studies. First, being careless doesn't always mean being dumb. In fact, many careless students are actually capable. The issue usually isn't intelligence. It's motivation, fear, or mindset. Sometimes, it's procrastination mixed with pressure. When a subject feels difficult, the brain looks for escape. And scrolling on your phone feels much safer than opening a textbook that reminds you how behind you are. It's like your brain says, let's protect ourselves from stress by ignoring it, which of course makes the stress worse later. Another big reason is fear of failure. If a student doesn't try seriously, they can always say, "I didn't even study." That way, poor results don't feel like proof that they're not smart. It's a psychological shield. Not trying fully protects the ego. There's also the instant gratification problem. Studying is a long-term investment. The reward comes later. But social media, games, chatting, those rewards are immediate. The brain naturally chooses what feels good now over what pays off later. And then there's lack of structure. Some students were never taught how to plan, break tasks into smaller pieces, or manage time. So when they see a big syllabus, it feels overwhelming. Instead of dividing it into chapters, they freeze. And when you're overwhelmed, doing nothing feels easier than doing something imperfectly. Let's not ignore burnout either. Sometimes a student looks careless, but they're actually mentally exhausted. If someone studies under constant pressure, comparison, or criticism, they might emotionally disconnect as a coping mechanism. You might hear them joke, "I don't care about grades," but deep down, they often do. They just don't want to admit it. Comparison also plays a huge role. When a student constantly feels behind smarter classmates, they may stop trying altogether. Why compete if you already believe you can't win? It's easier to act uninterested than to risk proving your doubts right. And sometimes, it's simply a lack of clear goals. When students don't see how studies connect to their future, books feel pointless. Motivation grows when there's meaning. Without meaning, effort feels forced. Here's the interesting part. Most careless students don't enjoy failing. They feel guilt. They feel anxiety before results. They promise themselves they'll change next time. But without understanding the psychological pattern, the cycle repeats. So what's really happening? It's not laziness. It's avoidance, fear, distraction, overwhelm, or lack of direction. When students build small habits instead of chasing sudden motivation, things change. When they study in short, focused sessions instead of waiting for the perfect mood, progress happens. When they understand that effort builds confidence, not the other way around, the mindset shifts, because confidence doesn't come before studying. It comes after consistent action. At the end of the day, being careless in studies isn't a personality trait. It's a pattern, and patterns can be changed. The question isn't, are you smart enough? It's, are you willing to face the discomfort long enough to grow? And once that shift happens, the same student who once avoided books can become unstoppable. Because the brain that finds excuses is the same brain that can build discipline. It just depends on which habit you feed.